Hello everybody, welcome back to Anglo Election Insights. Just in with a quick video today previewing the upcoming Port Macquarie by-election in the state of New South Wales. So it's being caused by the retirement of the sitting Liberal MP Leslie Williams, and it's going to be a contest between the Liberal Party and the Nationals. So if we have a look at the sort of history of the seat, you can see it's been a fairly reliable national seat since it was created apparently for the first time in 1988. Of course, Rob Oakeshott got his start here as an independent, and then he was able to hand it down to a successor. But since the 2011 landslide coalition win, the Nationals regained their foothold in the seat. But in 2020, when John Barilaro was at the peak of his powers, so to speak, his antics in the Eden Monaro by-election of 2020, white-anting Andrew Constance, and then again threatening to break up the coalition over the koala policy, prompted the then sitting Nationals MP Leslie Williams to defect from the Nats and become a Liberal, and then in 2023 she was able to hang on to the seat quite comfortably as a Liberal candidate, but she's now retiring. So the Nats are sensing the opportunity to try and bring this seat back, and effectively that is what the deal is. So in terms of what's happened so far in the campaign, the Nats did actually pre-select a candidate, but then like half a week later they disendorsed that candidate, and they, Warwick Young, I guess is how you say it, is now running as an independent. So he's a GP based in Port Macquarie, and he's running this sort of Dr. Warwick campaign, apparently. Although people on the ground say that really the only kind of signs that, like signs in advertising that you see in the electorate are just Liberal and that stuff. So it seems like the coalition parties are just going to fight this one out, but the Nats definitely getting off on the wrong foot there early in the campaign. What makes this sort of an interesting little by-election to look at is it becomes a bit of a litmus test for the federal contest in Cowper, where the Nats are trying to defend a pretty marginal seat, which encompasses this electorate as well as Coffs Harbour and the surrounds, from an independent sort of Teal challenger who came quite close last time, but the Nats did hang on. And a lot of the strength in the Nats vote was more in the southern Port Macquarie based part of the electorate. So if without sort of the personal vote of Leslie Williams, the Liberals are still able to hang on to this particular seat in New South Wales, it tells you that maybe the national brand or the Nationals brand is just a little bit on the wane, which we've already observed that from sort of 2018 through to now, and the Nationals brand really hasn't recovered much in New South Wales the way it has in, say, WA just now or Victoria back in 2022. So we'll be looking out to see if the Liberals hang on to this seat. Maybe that's a good sign for the Teal in Cowper, that there are voters who would probably rather vote Liberal than Nationals, well they would, and maybe that's a sign that she could be able to draw on a little bit more support from the Liberal Party as opposed to the Nats. Just an interesting little subplot, I guess. The other interesting thing about this seat is that there's no real kind of centre-left option. You've got the Nationals and the Liberals obviously running against each other, and then Libertarians running as a sort of right-wing minor party. The Independent was initially endorsed by the Nats, so very much a centre-right. Then you've got the Greens and legalised cannabis. The Greens, obviously more of a further left option. Legalised cannabis, well, it depends on the jurisdiction, but sort of centre to further left, and probably capturing more of a kind of lower information voter, just based on the name. But as I said, they're quite different ideologically depending on which state you're talking about. Not that the voters necessarily care, I think. So it'll be interesting to see where the voters who would normally vote Labour or who would be looking for more of a sort of centre-left independent, where those voters would go. Will they go to the disendorsed Nat? Will they go to the Liberals? Will they sort of go more Greens or just spray around wherever? That might be one to watch as well. But really, there's not a whole lot to say. If we have a look over at the booth map, courtesy of Tally Room, you can see that kind of more in the northern part of the seat, Port Macquarie being the main sort of urban centre, very much a fast-growing regional city. You can see that the Labour vote strengthening a little bit there. Lots of new kind of health, education, retail type jobs appearing in a growing city, but the Nats vote really quite weak compared to the Liberal vote, particularly as you go kind of down into these sort of like retiree type areas, like Lake Cat-Eye, Laurieton, and even Port Macquarie itself definitely attracts a lot of kind of ex-Liberal voting Sydney metropolitan people who then move up north. Those types of people are probably more likely to be comfortable voting Liberal than Nats. This isn't a seat where there's a huge amount of like kind of pastoral regions or pastoral regions, I should say. Not much like heavy industry or kind of resource economy or farming, agriculture, that sort of thing. So a lot of tourism and a lot of kind of retirees moving in, and then of course Port Macquarie itself being a growing city, so there's that sort of services economy. So it's the kind of seat that's probably trending towards the Liberal Party and away from the Nationals. And it does make you think, if we have a look at, say, so here we go, you can see that here's Port Macquarie here, sort of based around more of an urban centre. You can see these larger seats, much more farming, much more kind of industry, that sort of thing. And at the state level, the Nationals have lost some of these large agricultural areas to independents who were initially part of the Shooters, Farmers, Fishers party. Or is it Shooters, Fishers, Farmers? I always forget. Anyway, they've lost these seats in the far west of New South Wales, mostly over kind of water rights issues. And I do wonder if in seats in the future, like say Coffs Harbour or particularly Tweed Heads, which are currently held by Nats, when they become open, does the Liberal Party look to challenge the Nats there and take advantage of the increasing urbanisation of some of these seats and the weakening of the Nationals brand? So certainly a bit of a side plot to watch out for. And you could see a similar thing happen in a federal seat like Hunter or Richmond over time, where the Liberals decide that they want to challenge it rather than or in conjunction with the Nats. And as Australia sort of continues to urbanise, even in these sort of more regional cities up and down the New South Wales coast, that could be a theme that we look for, and this by-election could be a bit of an early indicator that sort of trend is going to continue. So just a quick one today, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll keep an eye on the results tomorrow, and I'll have some new videos sort of with more of a federal focus, and maybe we'll get round to that WA analysis once they've finally got the counting going. But even though we're at the full week ahead from the election, we're still only 65% counted, and there's pre-poll centres that haven't reported. Still waiting on some more final results there before I really go into much detail, but plenty to talk about nationally. So thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the vid. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Cheers.